This is my sister, Fern, who unfortunately lost her life to breast cancer when she was 37. She was my older sister. October 11th was the day she died, and that was 34 years ago. It was a long time ago. I was still a resident at the time. She called me and said, I have a terrible backache. And unfortunately, it was metastatic breast cancer, stage 4 to her bones. And she really pursued every aspect to treat her 3 little kids, to try to stay alive. And it's actually, she had, during that period of time before she got really sick at the end, she had incredibly vibrant health because she really was, taking nutrition, meditating, doing supplements, mind, body, psychotherapy, you name it. It was powerful. So actually, in a way, it was very instructive for me as a learning surgeon to see her go through this, and saw the value of sort of non-traditional approaches in addition, as complements to traditional care, and kind of really view Reiki, as one of those modalities. One of the earliest people to really take on some of this work was a woman named Julie Motz. So she actually did some of the very early work here with Dr. Oz in heart transplant patients, which was, for me, a very powerful metaphor. I'd read about her work, and she worked with me on, I would say 5 or 6 patients before I was at Columbia at a different hospital. So with heart transplants, it's sort of an easy metaphor, right? So why do people die when they have a heart transplant? They die because they reject the heart. So what does it mean to accept the heart? Well, this is a heart that's kept you alive for all these years, and someone's going to cut that heart out and give you somebody else's heart. And so if you could do the work, which Julie did with patients, to prepare to say goodbye to your old heart and welcome your new heart into your body, again, on a mind-body basis, humoral-chemical level, you're more likely to accept it and not reject it. So that really resonated with me in terms of the work that I was doing in terms of taking care of women with breast cancer. Because for women to lose the breast because it's sick is pretty profound in terms of the loss and what it means in terms of being a woman and sexuality and being a mother, and so being able to sort of say goodbye to the breast and thank it for feeding their children and being part of their seemed very similar. So it was very impressive to me. So I met Julie and there are a number of patients that she prepared for surgery. So a lot of it is about meeting before and really helping to get ready for this big, big life-altering event. And it became clear to me that these patients really did very well, after surgery, not just in terms of their psychological state and their mental attitude, but they had very little pain. They recovered really fast, and it was not a big study that I did, but it became clear to me that that this was valuable and that I really embraced it. And I said, well, why wouldn't we want to offer this to patients? We'd like to have the big studies to really prove it scientifically, but we know as scientists that there are a lot of things that we do that we know work that we have not proven scientifically, and so this is kind of in that list of things. I've been at Columbia now over 5 years, and as I started to work here, I began to know about people, who had worked with Dr. Oz here, who worked around New York, who've done Reiki, and it was in that context really that I met Raven. And the thing that's really, in many ways, the most fun about this work is, when the anesthesiologist or the residents in anesthesia, or the nurses, or the surgical residents, or the medical students, because we have a lot of people in the operating room here, it's a teaching hospital, and they begin to look at Raven and say, why is she here? What is she doing? And to kind of have them begin to think about, what the role of someone like Raven can be in the operating room, and how this work could benefit patients. It's pretty fun to sort of see the reactions, and some people think it's just weird and what is this? And others are very, very interested, and and sort of want to dig a little deeper into the science of it, and the things we can just do with brain waves just to make this happen without having a person here. And so the operating room is just ongoing. The normal things that we do. We sort of forget that Raven's really there. the anesthesiologists are very, everyone really is embracing it, because I think it's just viewed as another thing that could be helping our patients. It's funny sometimes, because in the middle of surgery, a typical thing a surgeon will say will be like to the anesthesiologist, how's our patient doing? Because we're involved in doing this technical thing. And more often than not, I'll say, Raven, how's our patient doing? And the anesthesiologist kind of look at me like, what am I like? Not doing anything here? No, I care about that too. But
I assume you've done surgeries with Reiki masters and without. Have you noticed a difference in the energy of the room, in your own reactions, in the reactions of other people? I don't know if that's something you can measure.
Yeah, I think it's hard to measure, but I do think that, in a way it kind of elevates the experience. I think sometimes in the operating room things can get very routine. So like really things happen that aren't so great. I don't mean in terms of the operation not being done well and the patient not doing well, but someone is sort of about to go to sleep, on the table, and someone walks in and is talking about kind of what they did last night, and what's happening tonight, or world events, or what kind of music we're going to listen to. The patient's still there. They're not, and they're about to go through this gigantic thing. And we want to be collegial, and we want to kind of draw people in, and I don't jump up and down about that, but I always say, is this about the patient? The conversation we're having, is that about our patient? So I think when the Reiki master is there, it's just sort of obvious, that we're all there, including this person who's not normally in the operating room, for one purpose. So we all want to have our focus be 100% on it. So I like it, because it does elevate that spirit. Which isn't, it's often, that spirit's often in the operating room, and don't get me wrong, I think we have great people, and, everybody's very patient-centered, but, there's a lot of moving parts in the operating room, and people from lots of different backgrounds, and so I do like that aspect of it very much.
Is there a moment before surgery where you all focus on the patient with Raven? Is that something that you do regularly, or
Well, we do, right. So it's not something we do all the time, but I think there are patients who really will actually ask, they've written things about what they would like us to say, or for me to say, in the operating room before the surgery. And often it's thanking us for being there and really giving our time and energy and our skills to helping to heal them. And it is a very healing thing. It's really wonderful for the whole staff. It doesn't happen all the time. It would be good if it did, actually. Yeah.